Good morning. Thank you for joining Todd, Celeste, and me for our first coffee with C3 for 2021. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to share insights from behind the curtain with life insurance planning. As always, please don't hesitate to use the Q&A section for your questions. And if we don't get to them all this morning, we'll personally be back in touch with you. Now, for just a quick little drum roll, I'm very proud to share that just a week ago, I celebrated 11 years as a partner with C3. You know, while my prior experience as a CPA planning with life insurance has been valuable, the simple truth is that as I go more and more behind the curtain, I'm reminded there are so many moving parts as we work with clients and their advisors to make sure we're fully aligning what's most important to our client's risk profile. And that's why this morning we thought we'd walk you through just a little bit of behind the curtain. So let's begin with medical. Insurance companies, as you probably expected, they look at your personal medical history. And I think we all know what that means. Those electronic records such as doctor's notes, prescription drug records, hospital stays, labs, etc. So it's pretty traditional. The insurance medical exam, you may have heard it called the paramedical exam. This, as when it's required, is, a check of height, weight, labs, EKG, etc. What sometimes though are surprising to our clients are the importance underwriting makes on looking at your family's medical history, such as what are the health conditions of your siblings? What are your parents' current age? And if they're still living, tell us about their health. Or if not, what was their cause of death? Because when you think about it, life insurance companies have one time to do this underwriting and make that decision. So our internal underwriting team uses what we call a very concierge, hands-on approach to privately review a client's medical information. Because some of the mistakes we found in records include, a skin cancer on a parent that got filed in our client's, the child's records, or a doctor all of a sudden noting that, hey, our client, guess what, is a smoker, or incorrect height or weight being recorded, and even those misleading comments regarding memory or snoring. And in my opinion, we work hard to get these records corrected before submitting to underwriting. Lifestyle includes driving, foreign history, foreign travel, avocations, and you get bonus points for fitness and medical habits. So in case you're wondering, Facebook and other social media platforms are commonly reviewed by underwriters. So presenting that consistent profile is really important.
Carolyn, a lot of people understand, of course, that medical goes into the underwriting and lifestyle. A lot of people understand that. What a lot of people don't think about is the financial. And it's really important to understand the insurance companies have to justify the financial risk when they're insuring our clients' lives. Literally last week, I was on a call with a client and an attorney, the client's attorney, and the attorney made the comment, if they're willing to pay the premium, why can't they buy the amount of life insurance they want to pay? And the only way I could make the analogy was tell him that if his home is worth $1 million, he can't insure it for $3 million because he's changing it from a contract of indemnity to a gambling contract. And that's the same thing that goes into life insurance underwriting. The next page is a slide that we will send to you. It gives a little more detail to some of the things we just talked about from medical, lifestyle, and financial. And we're going to see a couple of examples here of how that impacts underwriting.
This is a real life example of a client that we helped recently. This client is a male, age 55. If you can look to see where it says summary, you can see he did have some medical issues, abnormal EKG, history of anxiety and depression, some cardiac disease and cancer. So a file that we really had to take a look closely and really do that underwriting advocacy that you may have heard us talk about before. So right now we're going to get really backstage into essentially a day in the life of our internal team who really does a big part of this. So when a client first comes to us, we will take their medical records before we ever ask them to fill out an application or get any type of medical exam like the one Carolyn just described. We get their permission to gather their medical records so that we can do essentially an informal review. Make sure that we can clean up those records, as Carolyn mentioned. If there's any missing records, like let's say they needed to go to the doctor for a follow-up but never went, we try to encourage them to go back, gather that information, because we want to paint a full, clean, solid picture to the insurance companies to be able to advocate on the client's behalf. So in this case, the first insurance, once we have that, we send it to the insurance companies for this informal review. The first company that we send it to said the client was declined. And if you are working perhaps with someone that only had access to one insurance company, this could be a significant problem because now there's no possible solution for the client to be able to obtain that coverage. However, each insurance company has their own underwriting guidelines. They actually use different manuals. Some may be more lenient when it comes to certain cancers. Some are more lenient when it comes to diabetes. It really is up to the insurance company and their guidelines. And additionally, what lifestyle credits can this client receive also, which are different from each insurance company. So as we went out to the market and looked at other insurance companies, you'll see here that the offers we received for this medical classification, which truly drives the pricing of the product, really varied across the insurance. Everywhere from a preferred plus, which is the best you can possibly get, to a table rating. And so just to describe, these risk classes go preferred plus, preferred, standard, anything below standard to be a table. Higher the table, essentially, the more costly the product is going to be. The lower the classification is for yourself or for the client. And so here you can see that really the ultimate solution for the client is a combination of not just the least expensive product in the market, because you can go out and potentially find, oh, well, this is the least expensive product, but how does that correlate with your own medical profile? We truly have to tie those two things in together to be able to ensure that we're providing the ultimate solution. And even in this case, many times our underwriters go back to the insurance companies and advocate on behalf of the client. So for example, there's been circumstances when a client may come back table rated, but we know that they're incredibly active. They work out every day. They have great family history. There's a lot of things that are working towards them improving it. Our underwriters will go back and say, can we please revisit this because of all these reasons? So it's really, really important. It's crucial, actually, to have that underwriting advocacy on the client's side. Carolyn, Todd, anything that you would add specifically on this underwriting component?
I think the note that you have at the bottom there, Celeste, about Lion Street, the advantage that gives us when we go to the marketplace, because it's not just our firm, but it's the other firms that are co-owners with us in Lion Street that give us tremendous clout. So when we talk about our underwriters, we're talking internally. We're talking about Lisa and Suzanne and the tremendous job they do. But in addition to that, we have the clout through Lion Street of using their underwriters, their experience, and their clout with these carriers. And that comes into play as well.
Absolutely. So another crucial component is this policy management process.
Now, once a policy is put in place, we think it's really, really important to manage it after it's in place. And you know that we talk about the C3s being clarity, confidence, and coordination. So clarity comes into play when we look at the client's goals and their objectives. We make sure we understand them. We give them confidence in the solutions we provide. And then as the plans change, the coordination piece comes as we talk with our advisors and make sure we're coordinating with the external advisors, maybe internal family advisors. And then with that, we have lots of external resources that we have available to us. Some are proprietary, some are software that we purchase that you'll note in just a second. I've mentioned Lion Street and the clout that gives us. Smart Office is our client database that we use extensively to make sure we're on top of our client's situation and their products and their reviews. Veralytic is a third party that we've been associated with for over 20 years. That's out of Florida. Their goal is to be the Morningstar of the life insurance business. They help us evaluate carrier strength and product competitiveness, and not just after the fact. Oftentimes we use Veralytic as we're placing and analyzing new business. And then finally, we have a couple of financial tools that are third-party tools. One is Alert, the other one is called Vital Signs, that allows us to take a look at the financial strength of the insurance companies and compare them to other carriers. So those are third-party software packages that we have been involved with. And Celeste has a story about a very unique one called Life Trends.
Yeah, I was going to say Life Trends is a very unique relationship for us because very limited advisors, as a matter of fact, maybe one or two offices around the country, including ourselves, have access to this tool. So Life Trends is a company that goes out to the market and actually looks at all the product pricing across all the major insurance companies. So they literally will go through multiple scenarios and have that product pricing available to us. So in seconds, we can go into their software and do our due diligence to ensure we are truly offering or showing the client the most competitive solutions. We can go in and say something like male age 55, $1 million death benefit, preferred non-smoker, because now we've done the underwriting component. So we're going to bring that into Life Trends so that we know based on that medical classification, what are the best products. We click, search, and it in seconds gives us a very detailed report that shows all of the major insurance companies, their pricing. If we're looking at things like cash value or other things in components in the product, we can sort by that as well. I always say that to that, we superimpose our expertise, because just because it's the least expensive company doesn't mean it's the right company for the client. We want to make sure that we're only working with top rated companies. Life insurance is a long-term commitment, and we want to make sure the company is going to be there to, pay those claims and whatever responsibilities they have. So Life Trends is an invaluable tool for us to make sure that we are doing our due diligence. A couple of other components that come in the policy management process, of course, policy administration. We really put an emphasis within our team in that client service area. We have somebody that is solely focused on just ensuring that policy service is being managed. Because as an example, let's say you didn't receive your statement for some reason and you missed a premium, that could lead to a policy lapsing. So making sure premiums are paid, making sure we have the correct contact information, beneficiary trust information. If we know the client wanted to take withdrawals or loans at a specific point in time, making sure that those actually do take place. Policy performance, another incredibly important and crucial part of the policy management process. You all have seen interest rates continue to change every single day. They've dropped so much. Well, that impacts policies. If your client has not looked at their policy within the past 5 years and done a review, if they have one of these interest sensitive products, there's absolutely a possibility that it could be in danger of not going out as long as they expected or even lapsing in the near future. So we keep track of all this crediting grades, allocation, if it's a variable product, if it's a term product, what are their conversion options? We have clients that need to take advantage of those conversion options within a term policy because they may no longer be able to obtain insurance otherwise. And I'll tell you, those conversion options are incredibly different across every single product. And then, of course, once again, super important, insurance companies. We have to make sure that every insurance company that we're working with continues to be financially viable, that has that strength to be there when the client or when that beneficiary needs that claim paid. So we continuously track the success, the stability of our insurance companies. And Carolyn, you're also going to talk about COVID and the industry.
Yeah, so, it's kind of the perfect storm that's really happening out there with these carriers. They're in the continued low interest rate environment. They're dealing with COVID underwriting and experience. They know that there's changing tax laws. We anticipate other regulatory changes. And so with all that coming at them, what can you expect? You can expect you're going to see, and what we are seeing is rapid product changes and increasing policy costs. So it doesn't get any better than right now as we anticipate this storm continuing.
So we can see that we've got the objective of analyzing and staying on top of the policies. Looks like we're out of time. I just want to thank everybody for being on the call. This is what we call our pre-COVID team picture. And remind everybody, we do have a Consume and Converse meeting coming up at noon on March 16th. Phil Cubetta from the American College is going to be having a conversation about conducting a conversation of purpose during these polarized times. So please mark your calendar. We'll get notices out. And bless you.
And we did
Thank
have
you for
some questions, so we will send a follow-up email with answers to those questions to everybody as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Bye.